Mike DeCourcy for the Sporting News, Big Ten Network with us. Mr. Bracket Analyst, it is your time to shine this time of year.
It's my time to be harangued, Jim.
You know, I'm going for the other. I'm going the other way, but there's so much change that actually there's not. There is and there's not. Take Indiana for example. I'm not a bracket analyst. I don't think that they move on or off of the 4 line this week at the Big Ten tournament. I don't think that they're going to go up. I don't think they're going to go down. Because if they lose, it's going to be to a Maryland team. It's not exactly a horrible loss. It would be probably just a tick too soon, but no one's going to drop them an entire seed line off of that. I don't think so. I think Indiana's a solid 4 seed.
That's a nice way of looking at it. It makes you more relaxed as the week goes on. Could they get up to a 3?
I don't see it.
If Gonzaga lost tonight and they did well, one of the things about this week is that I just can't get all the I can't get all the conference tournament brackets in my head. You know what I mean? It's just impossible. Like what time are they playing? Okay, who's playing? And that it's hard for me to judge the paths. But if they do well, if Gonzaga lost, Marquette, either UConn or Marquette is not winning the Big East tournament. They can't both. And I'm not saying they both have to, but I'm saying they both can't. So that may open a door crack if Indiana did really well, I think. So I'd say that it's not impossible for them to climb, but they would have to do really well. And as far as falling, I think that, again, that St. Mary Gonzaga thing becomes a trapdoor the opposite way, perhaps. I don't know that they're going to make St. Mary's a top 4 seed. I don't think they played a significant enough schedule for that. Miami, if they lost early in the ACC tournament, could open a door there. I'm sorry, Virginia, if they lost early in the ACC tournament, could open the door for somebody else to come up, and that would help IU. So I think you're probably right that they're in a good shape to stay as a 4. That Michigan win was essential to making that happen, especially after the Iowa's result. But if you're an IU fan, it's better if you do well, and then there's the possibilities. You don't get your hopes up too high that you'll move up to a 3, but it becomes a possibility.
And then you look at where they could end up, which the most preferable landing spot would be Orlando, and then come in through Louisville at the Yum Center, which is a possibility. Of course, it depends on Purdue is in front of them as a 2 seed, but they're probably. Do you think they're heading to the East?
Well, you know, I placed them in the Midwest in my bracket today. Because I have Tennessee ahead of them on the 4 line, and so Tennessee got preference.
Oh, you're talking about Indiana.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. See, Purdue as the first 2 seed is a greater threat to keep Indiana out of Louisville. So you kind of need UCLA to lose and Purdue to climb back, and then Purdue at that point, they're just like, you know, they're the extra part. They go wherever the others don't want. There's no way Purdue's getting above, unless Houston were to like go out and lose to East Carolina or something. Right. There's no way that Purdue's getting above 1, 2, 3 on the 1 line. Their spot is it's them or UCLA, and that's it. And they're you know, and then UCLA still could climb, but they can't. They can't get past that 4th spot. It's too far from where they are now. So it's better for IU. I know this is hard to hear, Hoosiers fans, but it's better for IU if Purdue is a 1 seed than if they're a 2 seed. Because if Purdue's a 2 seed, they're going to get first shot. They're definitely going to be the first 2. That's indisputable. So
the thing is, I don't see anyone being moved off of that 1 line.
I think UCLA easily could be.
Really? Who's gonna beat them?
Arizona could beat them.
Oh, that's right. They got Arizona. But they look so good. UCLA.
They're very capable. But one of the things that, and this can work for them. It can work for them in terms of developing confidence and comfort. Is that their league is bad, and they with the exception of SC and Arizona, and to a lesser extent, Arizona State. I mean, there's nothing there. So UCLA, up until the last week where they had the 2 Arizona schools at home, they were rolling through teams that would be at the very bottom of the Big Ten, the very, very bottom. I mean, they'd be keeping company with Minnesota if they were in the Big Ten. So that's what they've been doing. And so they've been building comfort and confidence and a belief and all that kind of stuff and a formula. And so that can be good for them relative to succeed in the NCAA tournament. But if you're breaking down their resume, the only reason I have them on the one line right now is because that I believe the committee will not want a struggling 1 seed. And that would be Purdue today. Now, Purdue in 3 days, 4 days could be not a struggling 1 seed anymore. They could be rampaging. But they'd have to, because they're going to play a good quarterfinal, they're going to play a good semifinal. The final won't count in the bracket. But if they went out and just kicked butt on Friday and Saturday, and UCLA were to lose in either their semis or final, I think they can climb back. I do believe that. As I said, I moved them off because I suspected that would be a motivator for the committee. Resume-wise, they're not close. I mean, not really. I mean, they're close, but in terms of like when you look at breaking it down, okay, their metrics are close and all that stuff, but what divides them? Well, what divides them is that UCLA's quad 1 wins are not significant. A lot of them. It comes down to this stat, which the committee uses, is once they put their field together, who's done what against that field. And Purdue is, I believe, 10-4 against the field. They have 10 wins against the field. UCLA has 4 wins against the field. That's a big difference. I mean, that's not a small difference. That's a big difference. But I think that momentum thing, which I'm not a fan of, but I understand why the committee would want to do that. And so that's something that Purdue has to reverse.
Yeah. Purdue is just, I just never have not thought of them as a 1 seed this year. We had this conversation earlier this year, and I thought UCLA was a better team, but because of their guards are so susceptible, and they just don't seem to me as a complete team to be a 1 seed, and that's why.
Jim, how susceptible would they look if they were playing Washington and Oregon State and Utah and Colorado? How susceptible would they look then? Purdue would be winning every game by 15. There's none of those teams is any good. And so that's the difference. You see the vulnerabilities because you've seen them play Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin. Every night's a challenge. That's been their problem. I said this on Beyond on Sunday night. I said people are yelling, "How did they lose 5 games?" Well, they played because they played in a brutal league. I mean, not as difficult as the Big 12, but pretty close. I mean, you've got 14 teams, and 13 of them are capable of beating high-end teams. Ohio State has shown that.